Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by ChampionNews.net, your choice for the conservative voice. This is Carol Parisi. Today, our founder, Jack Roeser, and myself have Representative Barbara Wheeler from House District 64. Now, Representative Wheeler, Barb,
yes.
Let's talk about something we talked about over the break, supermajority. Supermajority. How do you overcome that? And also, you represent the 64th House District. What does that encompass? A couple questions so our listeners could get to know you better.
Sure, thank you. District 64, I live in Crystal Lake in McHenry County, and District 64 is 50% McHenry County and 50% Lake County. So from Crystal Lake in the McHenry side, it's from Crystal Lake north to Spring Grove and Johnsburg. On the Lake County side, it's from Johnsburg. From the Lake County side, it's from Volo all the way up to Antioch, including some Lake Villa and some Lindenhurst.
Okay.
A lot of the district is the Chain of Lakes and the Fox River.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm new. I was just inaugurated in January. And as many of my seasoned colleagues have mentioned before many times, that this year is unlike any other year. And you've mentioned the supermajority, and a lot has to do with the fact that out of 118 General Assembly members in the House, there are only 47 of us Republicans, 47. So basically, in the House, the Democrats, if they wanted, they could pass anything they want with a supermajority. And have.
That's meant that we are the most broke and the most crooked state. The Democrats have been in charge in all recent years.
Madigan has been leader for 30 years with a short recess.
We got to get rid of this. You know, I tell people you shouldn't vote for any Democrat until we get this thing straightened away, because they sure own especially the fiscal disaster that faces us here with the pension and everything else.
Completely. The Senate is the same way.
The whole cost of education is awful.
Supermajority. Right. The Senate has a supermajority as well for the Democrats. I think there are 19 Republicans in the Senate, and as you know, the governor is a Democrat. So all three houses
Madigan
are
runs
owned
them all.
by the Democrats.
He's the guy that's pulled all the strings for so long. They're all afraid of him, the governor and all the rest. They do some posing, like as if they were still looking at the voters. But Madigan runs it all. And he gets what he wants all the time. You
know, you use the word posing. I love that word. When we went on as campaign trail, working with all these different candidates, both from the Republican and the Democratic side, and you know, I don't know if you know this, but there isn't a single representative or candidate that would ever admit anything but they're fiscal conservatives. No one admits otherwise, including the Democrats. So when I listened to the Democrats who won their seats, and I saw them and they promised the voters and their constituents that they would be fiscal conservatives and be different and be independent thinking, and their first vote when we all get into the office, their first vote is for Madigan. Their second vote was to tighten the rules to empower Madigan even further.
Where's the consistency in that?
There isn't any consistency. I have to say, I believe them, as the voters did.
There isn't any honesty.
That they were
don't
going
represent
to be
the people.
And different.
They just represent the power of the Democrats and Madigan, who have put so many perks into the hands of their pals. Look what's going on with Metra at the present time. They're getting rid of the president of Metra because he didn't appoint the people that Madigan said he should.
Right. And they
so
paid him a lot of money to leave and leave quietly.
And
not leaving quietly, though.
He was supposed to shut his mouth, but they couldn't keep their own mouth shut, so he opened up.
Right.
And so we get a look at the inside of how Madigan's improper power goes into Metra and the people that they hire to operate that important rail system. So they caused a very good man who was president, wasn't used to the Chicago system of we don't want nobody sent.
Well, he was hired he was hired under the direction from that board, the Metro board, saying, we don't want things to be the way they were. We want you to work ethically. We want you, not take bull from anyone.
Nothing ethical about Madigan.
And he did what they told him to do, and that's why he was resigned 6 months before his contract came up. But you're right. Madigan and the Democrats have an incredible amount of power right now, more so than they have in the last 3 decades. And with great power comes responsibility. I feel that, I'm new, so I feel like with this responsibility, they should do things for the people of the state.
But Barb, there's also that ultimate power corrupts ultimately too, and I feel
I'm learning that, Carol.
I feel that this power of the Madigans is more of a corrupt power than a responsible power to the people to help make everything better for the state. I think there's a select few that Madigans want to make things better for, and there's a lot of patronage that goes on. And I'm sorry, Jack, what were you going to say?
Well, you brought up a good point about absolute power corrupting absolutely. But that is an end. Madigan has made a third step about it. Absolute power? That's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
How does he maintain power for so many years? Our state is in crisis. We have pensions, unfunded liabilities. Why do people keep putting the same people in power?
Well, I want to jump in here
Michael's
real
throwing
quick.
his oar in the water today.
And Barbara already outlined it. They've got a supermajority. Madigan is in a position of more power than he's ever had. At every opportunity, when Madigan had an opportunity to do something for the people, he did nothing but solidify his own position. I mean, look at Lisa Madigan for just a second. You see how long she's been in office. You know that Illinois is the most corrupt state in the nation. Yet, the only thing that she can hang her hat on is suing Catholic Charities because they refuse to put babies in the homes of gay couples.
She can't find a criminal about the bunch of them, huh?
She's worthless because she's not Madigan's daughter. She's adopted, but she certainly has adopted Madigan's distasteful political ways, and she's absolutely worthless to the state as an attorney general, and would be a worthless governor.
Any nepotism? Does
she
anybody
stepped
ever
down.
bring nepotism to the forefront, where you've got these powerful families like the Dailies and the Madigans? How does that work for the folks, and why don't the folks actually ask more questions on how they have these political dynasties?
My guess is that people don't know. We're insider baseball. We understand. We know the connections. We see them. We talk about them daily.
Low information
you
voters.
knock on the doors, as we all do every 2 years, as an election cycle. And you talk to the guy, your next door neighbor. He doesn't know. Most people don't know who Madigan is. Most people don't understand.
It's all money, and the money is run by the stinking teachers union. The teachers union has corrupted the whole system of the whole state, and that is where the money goes.
It's the power base.
95% of the money that the teachers pay, roughly $1,000 a teacher, $132 million a year, goes out of the teachers' pay into dues to the stinking IEA union. It's a stinking lying IEA union. Can I say it loudly and repeat it? They are at the base of the whole trouble. Because why? Because they take that money that the Supreme Court says should go back to the teachers, $800 of it, the Beck decision, U.S. Supreme Court says they've taken the money away from the teachers illegally and they ought to give it back. But no, the IEA union, the stinkers, they take the teachers' money and they spend it politically. 95% goes to the Democrats. That means most of it goes really to Madigan. A lot of it goes to the national, because that's an awful lot of money, $200 million every election cycle. Madigan can make his own reality anywhere with all of that money. So what we have to do in this election is realize that the stinker behind being the most crooked and the most broke is the IEA Teachers Union. Wow. Those people are running our schools, and that's a reason the schools don't teach arithmetic or morality, and they're costing a ton of money. It costs $16,000 per child to get a so-called education in the K-12 system in Illinois. And that $16,000 doesn't include the $160 billion debt that they got on the pensions as well.
Right.
You ought to be able to teach kids for half the cost, and it's being done in the city of Chicago by St. Elizabeth's at 4100 South Wabash. For $4,000 a year, the kids get a lot better education. They never get thrown out of school. They take all comers. For 1/4 the money, a Catholic school can do a lot better job than the crooks in the union that are running the education in Illinois.
Well, I think the absolute power of the IEA is that fits perfectly corruption, absolutely. Barb, when we come back after the break, you have initiated some programs that are beneficial to your community and engineering. I'm really looking for our listeners to hearing a little bit more about what you're doing in Springfield, solutions to our problems that are coming ahead of us. And we will be right back. Stay with us after the break.